Hey everybody, it's Justin here, aka Demonic Sweaters. Today I have another product review. We're going to be taking a look at this Pogolab MK4 61 key keyboard. This is kind of like the bigger brother to the MK1 that I reviewed a few weeks back. Sort of. I mean, actually it's a pretty different keyboard. There's a couple of features, a couple of improvements, but I will say that there are a couple of things that are kind of downgrades compared to the MK1. I actually still like the MK1 a little bit better than this one. I'm going to tell you just right away. This one is good, I guess, if you're more of like a kid learning how to play piano or something like that. Maybe this would be a better choice for you than the MK1, since it does have more keys and they're bigger. There's 61 keys on here. And as you can see, I can lift it quite easily with one hand. It's pretty light. And one interesting feature to this, it actually has a built-in, well, I guess it's a stand, but it's very low. So in order to play with this stand, the way that it works, basically you have to sit on the floor and just kind of put it over your lap. Or if you're sitting on a bed or something like that, you can do that as well. But that is kind of an interesting feature. I don't know how much I'll actually use it, but maybe you would. On the back, we have a standard 1/8" audio output as well as a microphone input. It doesn't come with a microphone, so I'm not exactly sure what that would actually do. And then lastly, it comes with this detachable music stand, which just kind of connects right here. And that's pretty cool if you want to put your sheet music up there to be able to read while you're playing. So that's kind of nice, and it fits in there really easily, and it seems pretty stable. As I mentioned before, it does have 61 keys, and it has kind of like an accompaniment feature, which is similar to the older Casios, where it can play bass lines and rhythm parts and all of that. And you can switch the chords, based on the keys down here. It also has a very rudimentary drum machine in it where you can program your beats, but they are really limited. You can basically only program quarter notes for everything. There's no way to make any kind of complex beat at all with this thing. Though the drum sounds do sound pretty cool, and I actually might want to sample these sounds that are in here because they're kind of like cheesy in a good way. The keyboard does have a split functionality where you can have one sound on the bass keys and another sound on the higher keys. Now, one of the biggest flaws of this keyboard is it says that it has 250 sounds, but really that is not true at all. I would say there's probably more like 10 or something like that, and they just repeat across all 250 of those slots, or 240, whatever they say it is. But it's not at all as many sounds as they say. In fact, the MK1 definitely has more sounds than this MK4 does, even though this one actually has a higher number that it goes to. Now, it's kind of a cop-out. It's not really a good thing to do that they did that, and I'm not blaming Legato for that. I think this keyboard was probably outsourced to another maker. So yeah, I don't even know if they're aware that that's how it is, but I'll show you guys what I mean as far as that goes as well. However, that's not going to stop me from making something cool with this keyboard. So what I'm going to do is actually record an entire song using nothing but the sounds in this keyboard, except for the drums. I'm going to play some acoustic drums to it. That's just kind of what I do here. First, let me show you guys a couple of things I was talking about, and then I'll go ahead and show you the song that I make. All right, let's first just talk about some of the sounds here. So here's the basic piano sound. And I have this running directly into my audio interface via the headphone output in the back. So the speakers, they're loud, but they don't sound great. They're very tinny sounding, but they are loud. So if you wanted to kind of jam in your room, you could with the built-in speakers. But let's go through some of the sounds here. So here's what I was saying. We have the keyboard sound, or the piano sound rather. Oops, I'm in the wrong thing here. Let's go back to timbre is how you change the actual sounds of the synth. So there's piano. You have like a vibraphone type thing. It's like a bass, upright bass. Now you're already starting to hear kind of some repeated sounds, or at least ones that are very similar. So there was a piano again. So I'm not sure how that's any different than the one in the beginning. And that's what, we're at 33. Now it seems like it kind of started over again. I mean, maybe there's some slight variations to them. I mean, some of them are pretty cool. That's a pretty cool synth there. And let's go ahead and talk about the split. So let's see if it does what I was talking about again. Let's go here and let's just put in like a sound. Well, now it's not doing it. Okay, so what it was doing yesterday is when I put it in split, there was like this weird sustain thing happening when I was using one of the other sounds on the split. So maybe that was just a glitch yesterday. I mean, it is cool that you could do splits. But how do I change? I think to do it, what you have to do is select the first sound. So let's do like, oops, no, that's not gonna work. 123. That tuba is hilarious. Okay, so here's kind of a guitar type sound. And then let's go to split again. And then let's select, I don't know. Oops, that won't work. 210. No, 210. The thing is with that though, is when I split it, it seems to put the higher octave on the guitar there on the lower side of the keyboard, which is kind of odd. Why would you want that? Seems like I'd still want the low octave there. And there is no octave key, but there is a transpose. You can transpose down to a sixth away from the root note. And let's go ahead and show you guys the drum machine I was talking about. So in order to do that, you press program here, and then you'll see all the different keys. They repeat as well. You can see all the different drums labeled up here. And you just start playing. Let's go ahead and do that. Until it says it's full. Okay, so now it's full, but you'll see it won't play back the way I played. It's gonna play basically everything as quarter notes. So let's go ahead and play it. See what I mean? Or eighth notes, however you wanna count that. So in order to, program anything that's usable, you're just gonna have to keep it very simple. So let's do that again. We can go like, I don't know. Okay, now that'll work. Okay, yeah, so it's very simple, though you can program and you can play, you can play drum parts if you just press keyboard percussion here. You can play everything individually, which is pretty cool. You could finger drum with this thing. And the fact there's so many repeated sounds all over the keyboard gives you a lot of places you could play it. So let's see. So that's pretty cool, and it's actually pretty playable. Okay, now let's check out the accompaniment. So let's go ahead and press, let's see, how do we do this? We go to start and stop. And then if we press finger or single right here, when we press a bass key, it'll play the chords. And this works a lot like the old Casios. And if you change the rhythm, it'll change the way the accompaniment is being played. Let's see, how do we do that? That one sounds a lot like a Casio right there. Some of these are pretty cool, actually. Okay, and that is actually pretty cool. There's also a fill-in feature. Let's check that out. I like the drum sounds, though you can't change them. They just sound like that, but they're pretty cool sounding. They're very retro, kind of 80s sounding, and I dig it. Now, these other buttons here, one key and follow, these are kind of these really, really rudimentary lesson type things that are, quite honestly, they're not great. One key, if we just press this, when we just start pressing a key, it's going to basically play the melody of the song. So, yeah. So the other one is this follow button right here, and it also gives you all of these stickers that you can put on the keys that tells you which note is which, and I believe the old Casios used to do this as well. So this is pretty much, you know, a copy of the way Casios used to do this back in the 80s. But what you can do is put these stickers on there, and then if you press follow, it'll tell you which note you're supposed to play. So that's D5, and then you can look at the note that you have on the keyboard and then press D5. And it won't change until you actually press the right note. I'm just, you know, hitting random notes there until I get it correctly. But that's the idea. Whether or not that can actually teach you to play, I don't know. And I don't know who would actually use that. Maybe kids would like it. It might be fun for a kid. But I will never touch that. There's demo songs. So yeah, it's a pretty fun keyboard for what it is. It's very inexpensive. It's got a lot of keys. It's got stereo speakers, though I don't think it's actually stereo. So I'll just say it has 2 speakers because I think the sound that comes out of both of those is exactly the same. At least it sounds exactly the same in my headphones. In addition, we also have tempo buttons. You can do master volume. You can do accompaniment volume. You can also record your performance here with the record button. I don't know how that's going to play back. I haven't tried that yet. Let's see if it plays it exactly. Now that's actually kind of cool because you could create sort of like a loop that way and trigger it while you're playing. And then it starts again as soon as you press it. I really, really like the low bit depth on the lower samples here. That sounds really, really cool to me. And I know this is kind of a aesthetic thing for just the type of sounds that I like to make and music that I like to make. Not everybody's going to like that because it's definitely, you know, saying that the same sample that's being used for the high notes is being used for the low notes. But I really like it. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and create something with this thing, and let's see what I can do with it. I don't know. I think it's going to be pretty cool, actually. All right, that's the Pogolab MK4 61 key electronic keyboard. Now, is this like a really high quality instrument? No, not at all. It's actually quite crappy, but it's crappy in a good way. The samples are weird sounding, especially in the lower register, and I was able to pull some sounds out of here that I thought were really pretty cool and gritty and haunting. And I did manipulate the heck out of it with effects on in my DAW when I was recording and mixing. But every sound that you heard was from this keyboard, except for my drum set. Everything else was really coming from here. I didn't add any other synths or instruments at all. Yeah, it's weird, but I like it. Now, if I were to pick between this and the MK1, I would definitely go with the MK1 because it has way more sounds and way more variety to the sounds. This one only has, like, even though it says it has like 240 or 250 sounds, whatever it says, it's more like 10. Like, there's really not that many. And there are some slight variations between those samples on there, but it's really not that many sounds, like not at all. The plus side is the speakers are pretty loud and the keys don't feel that bad. They respond pretty good when you play. And, it's a good learning tool. It's got this little built-in stand here, which is pretty cool for kids. And so it's probably a cool kid's toy and also pretty fun if you like making experimental music. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to click like and subscribe and the bell icon. Click that bell icon. It's really important. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day.